and there's a hole and you have to go down, while the terrorist is smiling and waiting for you while you're shaking. Can you imagine your husband being tortured and being hit and beaten up into pieces, and you have to keep quiet, and you can't hug him, and you can't do anything for him? You just have to vanish and not feel. Can you imagine a young girl that has never been touched, that a Hamas terrorist just feels like touching her, and that's what he does? And when she comes back, you're not allowed to touch her, you're not allowed to help her, you're not allowed to hug her. All you can do is look in her eyes. That's the only love that you can give her, while she needs to get out of there. And she just continues to smile and behave and act like nothing has happened, because she's scared, and she's still there, and she sees him all the time. Can you imagine yourself being taken with black material on your eyes and not being able to see where you're going? And you're 63 years old and you can't even figure out where to put your next foot, because that's what they feel like doing to you. Torture you all the time. Can you imagine that you're starving after 24 hours and the terrorists in front of you are eating and chewing and drinking, but they don't feel like getting up and bringing you something to eat, so you just sit and wait? Can you imagine yourself looking at the terrorist's eyes while he threatens one of the girls with a gun in front of her face and says, "One more word, I'm going to kill you." And you have to keep quiet, and you can't even say a word, and you're not allowed to feel. And all you need to do all the time is to say, "Tamam, everything's okay," while nothing is okay. So I was there for 51 days, and I went through hell. I didn't have 1 second to relax, because they didn't let me, because all the time they wanted to torture me. And Keith, my husband, and the girls, and all the hostages are still there. And I want to tell you that after the 6 hostages that came back dead a little bit more than a month ago, if that wasn't enough to wake up the world, so what do we need to do? What do we need to do? The conditions that they came back in were the worst. So the cruelest thing that's happening is the hostages there underneath the ground, while they want to scream, while they're being tortured, while they're just lying down on a filthy, dirty mattress for a year, trying to figure out what is the next thing that's going to happen, and who's it going to happen to. Is it going to happen to one of the girls that she'll be taken and be raped again? Or to my kid that's 65, will be tortured again? Will they be starved again? Will they be screamed at, or thirsty, or begging for a little bit of oxygen? Because I nearly died underneath the ground. One more day and I would have been dead. I would not have been standing here. So I'm asking you, everybody, please take my words and help me bring Keith and the girls and the boys, because we can't allow ourselves as humans to leave human beings underneath the ground where they are. We cannot allow them. We need to do everything, all of us together, not only me and not only the families, but everybody that's standing here and looking at me and can hear my words. We should not allow any human being in the world to go through what Keith and the hostages are going through. So please, I'm begging and begging and begging, and I will not stop until they come home. Thank you.
Please welcome Eli David, brother of Vital David, who is still held in Gaza.
My name is TEL AVIV. I'm 27 years old. The first assignment I've ever had in my entire life was given to me when I was 4. That was being a big brother. When Eviatar was born, I was only 4, and from that moment on, we went together to every place, always together. We went to school together, we had the same hobbies. For us, living through it more than a year doesn't get any easier. It goes harder every day that passes. The anger, the despair, the frustration goes bigger with every minute. And for me, personally, it's waking up every day to October 8th, when I already knew that my brother is kidnapped. My brother is the best guitar player I know. The thing I miss the most is just playing music with him. He's the most calm-minded person I know. When he's home, I know that everything's okay. And he's not home for 373 days. And the word that comes out of my mouth, I cannot even believe I'm saying that. He's not home for so long. My brother went with his friends to celebrate at a music festival. That's what he did. That was his only sin, just having fun. 2 of his friends were killed on the spot. He and his childhood friend, Guy Gilboa Dalal, were kidnapped 200 meters from the place where his friends were killed. So it was only a matter of luck who gave my brother life and his friends death. Right now, those people, Eviatar, Guy, and all the 99 others, are dying. They are suffocating, they are dying from hunger, and they can be dead, executed, in a blink of an eye, just because some crazy barbarian can shoot them in the head wherever he wants, whenever he wants. We owe them to do whatever we can to save them. We cannot let anyone else die. And they are dying. They are dying. I know my brother is coming back home. That's my biggest hope. And my biggest fear is that eventually we will not have people to bargain on. That's my biggest fear. And I want you to take with you this very strong belief that 101 hostages are coming back home. They're coming to hug their parents, to hug their children, to hug their brothers and sisters. And that's what I go to bed with, and that's what wakes me up in the morning. I know Eviatar is coming back. And I ask you, know the same. Please take those stories. Advocate for those hostages everywhere, all the time. And act. We don't have any more time. Thank you.
It is our honor to invite Simon Walters, Ambassador of the United Kingdom.
Good evening. And let me start by saying an earnest and heartfelt thank you to the Hostage Families Forum for the invitation to be with you tonight. It is an honour. It's an honour to be standing with you and to recognise the extraordinary and vital work of this organisation in giving us focus and hope. But too many times, a year on from the 7th of October, is it necessary for us to come together to remember the hostages, to comfort their families and call for a solution? I repeat my promises, which I have made many times before, that we will not allow the hostages to be forgotten. We will continue to do all that we can to bring them home. And they include a British citizen and several others from British families. This evening I want to go further and offer some more candid thoughts on the situation we are in. Let me be honest, a year on from the 7th of October, there have been no serious discussions on a hostage release deal for some weeks now. Sinwar seems to hope that his dream of a regional war may yet come true. The situation with Lebanon and Iran is important, and it is understandable that many people are focused on that. But we must not allow it to cause us to lose sight of the situation of the hostages. I have not come here to offer criticism or blame for anyone in particular other than Hamas. And let me say clearly that it is they who must take all the responsibility for what happened on the 7th of October and their continued refusal to release the hostages. But I do think we need to recognise that negotiations so far have not succeeded. We need to think about all possible options, all possible alternatives. I say that with all gratitude and appreciation for the determined work of the governments of the United States, of Egypt and of Qatar, their work as intermediaries. They have tried and tried to find a way through this extraordinarily complicated problem, and I hope that they will continue to do so. Ultimately, we need a deal which not only gets all the hostages out and ends the fighting, but one which puts in place a system of administration in Gaza which will provide security both for Israel and Palestinians and guarantee that Hamas cannot regrow. I make these comments cautiously. The last thing we want to do is hand some kind of negotiating advantage to Hamas. But we urgently need action. The current situation is intolerable. My heart goes out to the families who have had to endure a year of agonizing uncertainty and separation. And I promise again that we will continue to work every day for the release of your loved ones. Thank you.
Please welcome Sharon Lifshitz, daughter of Yochebed Lifshitz, who was released from captivity, and Oded Lifshitz, still held by Hamas.
Good evening. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, everybody here, for all the work you are doing. We couldn't have done it without you, and we are amazingly grateful. I feel an immense sense of failure. I wake up in the morning, and above all, I have failed my dad. I have failed the people of my community. I myself have failed them. I have failed to convince other people, the people that matter, that they should be back, that they should have been back, that Arya Zalmanovich could have been saved if a deal was given to, was agreed earlier. I wrote some words, but I feel that it's impossible now to read them. Every morning after I do that, I thank my mom for coming back to us. I thank her for the light she brings to the world. I thank all the hostages for showing us that in your darkest moment you still can make choices. And I expect the other side, the Palestinian side, to also remember that they can make choices, that they are humans. My parents' house was burned to the ground. From the burned out window, we see the burnt village across the field from us. There is so much destruction, there is so much pain, there is so much that we have lost and will not return, and we are not going to think about it clearly until our loved ones are back. We know many of them are dead, and we know some of them are alive, we don't have the time. We don't have the time to wait till Israel decide what it does with Lebanon, what we do with Iran. We don't have the time until the election in the United States, until somebody change job and still somebody think whether it should be political or not. We have hostages to save. And I tell every diplomat in this here, please tell your governments if you have hostages with other foreign nationalities, British, German, Polish, whatever it is, I hold you fully responsible for your citizens. I hold you wholly accountable for your citizens. I am expecting you to do what it takes, and I expect you to do not as a fellow citizen, but as your father, as your daughter, as your whatever it is. It is the person closest to you that you love most. There is no time to waste. We have wasted 372. Just before I came here, I saw a picture that was published in a kibbutz near Oz WhatsApp group, and it said, the hostages from kibbutz near Oz are in Gaza for 6 days. It was a sign just down the road for here. How many days ago was that? How do I explain it to my father, to Arbel, to Emily, to Sasha, to Sagi, and to everybody else? I ask you to help us explain it.
We are honored to welcome Axel Vanish, Ambassador of Argentina.
Shalom lekulam, erev tov, good evening. I'm going to speak in Spanish, and my fellow will translate. En primer lugar, quiero dejar algo muy claro, que ya lo sabemos todos, pero que es importante repetirlo una y otra vez. Esto no es un acto político, no es un acto partidario o bélico de guerra. Esto es un acto humanitario. Es lo más básico que cualquier ser humano de bien debería tener en el corazón: reclamar por los secuestrados civiles inocentes.
Hello everyone. First time I want to tell that this is a humanitarian act. This has nothing to do with politics. This has nothing to do with war. We are here as humans in a humanitarian act. Thank you.
Cuando llegué la primera vez después del 7 de octubre y pasé por el aeropuerto, ustedes habrán visto que están los carteles con las caras y los nombres de cada uno de los secuestrados. La primera vez pasé y fui sacando fotos y filmando y mirando. La segunda vez pasó un poco más rápido.
When I first got to the airport here in Tel Aviv, I passed by the photographs of all the hostages, and first I filmed, I took photographs. The second time I passed through the photographs, I passed a little more quickly.
La tercera vez pasé caminando y cuando llegué a la mitad del recorrido me di cuenta que no había visto y me agarró un dolor y una vergüenza personal muy grande. Volví caminando hasta atrás y volví a pasar despacio.
my third time, I was passing through the same pictures. I realized at the middle of the passing that I didn't pay any attention to them. So I feel ashamed, I feel pain, and I went back to the photographs and paid my respects to all of them from the beginning.
Y creo que ese es un desafío que tenemos todos los países libres del mundo, todas las personas libres del mundo, no acostumbrarse. Porque lamentablemente pasa el tiempo y seguimos escuchando y seguimos viendo que reclaman, pero lamentablemente nos acostumbramos y luego de un año hasta parecería algo normal.
This is a challenge everyone has, every country, every citizen of the world, every people that love freedom, to remember. 1 year has passed, but we don't have to forget. It's important that we all keep remembering what happened 1 year ago.
El mundo está en un momento decisivo y hay que tomar una decisión. La abstención, el silencio ya no es una opción. El terrorismo funciona física y materialmente y también psicológicamente, generando miedo. Y cada persona, cada líder del mundo, cada presidente, cada embajador, cada político, cualquier ser humano libre del mundo que calla, en este momento no está tomando una posición neutral. Está eligiendo alimentar y apoyar el terrorismo.
Silence is not an option anymore. Every ambassador, every president, every politician has to remember this important thing. They have to take part. There is no more like standing in the middle. Everyone has to compromise through the truth and don't silence anymore. Raise their voice.
En ese sentido quiero traerles el abrazo y el acompañamiento a las familias de todo el pueblo argentino, del gobierno argentino, del presidente Javier Milei, el acompañamiento, el apoyo y la cooperación, acompañándolos y haciendo todo lo posible y lo máximo y más que está al alcance para pedir por la liberación inmediata e incondicional de todos los secuestrados, dentro de los cuales hay compatriotas argentinos.
That's why I want to bring the full support of the Argentinian people, the whole country, the government of Argentina, from President Milei, to support every of each hostages, the 101 hostages still in Gaza, that they have our support, and Argentina will raise its voice.
Para terminar, quiero felicitar a todos los líderes del mundo que alzan su voz y no nada más hablan, sino también que toman acción, y dejar algo claro, que hasta que los buenos no tomen la unión y la fuerza, por lo menos igual que lo hacen los malos, entonces estamos permitiendo que el mal, la oscuridad y el terror triunfe por sobre la luz.
I like to congratulate every president, every politician that takes part, that raise their voices through the light, through the truth. There is no time to lose. There is no more time to lose in order to make a joint action for the truthful people to fight evil. There is no more time to lose.
Muchas gracias, es un honor que me hayan invitado y espero que esta sea la última de estos encuentros y que podamos reencontrarnos con todos, y vuelvo a recordar, todos los ciudadanos inocentes que no son políticos, no tiene nada que ver con política, no son soldados, no tiene nada que ver con guerra, son ciudadanos como todos nosotros y merecen el derecho mínimo y básico de la libertad.
To finish, I am honored to be here. I hope this is the last time I'm gonna be here before the hostages are released. And thank you everyone to keep the action, to keep the faith and and fight for the truth. Thank you.
Before we go on, please take a look at this T-shirt exhibition around you. It represents 101 hostages. We would like it to be in each country around the world. If you want to host it, please reach Gali. Gali, where are you? Raise your hand, okay? Reach Gali. In any way, we will give you more info via email or thank you. So now, I would like to invite Mr. Michael, Deputy Ambassador of France.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. I'm speaking this evening on behalf of Ambassador Frédéric Journes. It's been 1 year now, a very, very difficult year. And I first want to pay a tribute to the Families Forum, to all of you, for the tireless energy that you've invested, that you show every day in reminding people how vital it is to get the hostages out of Gaza. Not only, of course, all of you who are here, but I'm also thinking of all the people in the streets of Israel that I see every day holding pictures of hostages, demonstrating in various areas of the cities and towns of this country. It is essential to keep this up in order to keep the whole world's attention on what has happened since October 7th. My country has been, as you know, deeply struck, among others, by this tragedy. We've had 8 hostages. Some of them, the children, were released in the first hostage deal, but their parents, 2 of their parents, are still in Gaza. Ofer Calderon and Ohad Yahalomi. I can assure you that we think of them every day. Every day the faces of the hostages, those faces that we see, as it was recalled when we arrive in Ben Gurion Airport, they are all with us. And I think I can speak in that sense, not only for myself, but for the entire staff of our mission, who has been constantly and as hard as possible and with all its energy working to try to get our hostages out. We've failed. We failed for 2 of them, Orion Hernandez, Radu, and Elia Toledano. In spite of that, we will continue to do the utmost. We will continue to also, as was said by previous speakers, to look for other ways to try to explore, try to think out of the box. The tireless efforts of the diplomatic community of the United States, Egypt, Qatar, to try to mediate a solution have been useful, but we haven't reached the end of the road yet. So the only thing I want to add to what was eloquently said by my colleagues before me is to restate France's commitment to be on your side and to work to get all the hostages out of Gaza. Thank you very much.
And finally, so we can end on a note of hope, Louis Hare. Please welcome Louis Hare, who was rescued from captivity.
ערב טוב. מישהו יתרגם? En Spanish. Primero que todo quiero agradecer a las Fuerzas Armadas de Israel, que gracias a ellos estoy hoy aquí y puedo hablar, estoy vivo. Me han dado la vida de regalo nuevamente. Además quiero agradecer a la Embajada de Israel, de Argentina en Israel, al presidente Milei, por el gran apoyo que nos han dado desde un primer momento. Nos sentimos realmente en casa con ellos y es como una familia. Hemos encontrado a nuestra familia de Argentina nuevamente. Estuvimos trabajando ahora en toda Sudamérica y realmente el calor que hemos recibido es inimaginable, tan intenso, y el apoyo de esos países que tanto precisamos, como Argentina y también Uruguay. Lo que yo quiero decir es que, así como estoy yo aquí, vivo, y como Clara está, y nosotros, 5 miembros de la misma familia, que hemos estado en Gaza, y estamos nuevamente en Israel, y yo pienso que es el ejemplo de que es posible. Se puede traer a todos los 101 rehenes de vuelta a casa. El asunto es que tenemos que luchar todos juntos para poder lograrlo. No existen diferencias de religión, derecha, izquierda, nada. Somos el pueblo de Israel que tenemos que estar unidos y traerlos a todos. No hay que perder la esperanza. Así como hemos hecho el monumento de Tikva o el Hope en Manhattan, tenemos que seguir luchando y traer a todos los 101 rehenes de vuelta. Gracias.
Yo entendí todo, Luis. Before I invite Rona to sing again, I would like to say thank you on behalf of the families of the hostages. Thank you for standing with us this evening and always. Good night and God bless you. Rona.
Thank you. I want to sing a song. Song about freedom. We want our hostages back. We will not be home until they come back. It's an actual existential need, but freedom should be given to everyone in this region. That's also an existential need. So I pray for them all to come back. And here's a song by Bob Dylan. I shall be released. They say everything can be replaced. They say every distance is not near. So I remember every face of every man who put me here. I see my life come shining from the western to the east. Any day now, any day now, I shall be released. They say every woman needs protection. They say every woman must fall. Yet I swear I've seen my reflection someplace so high above these walls. I see my light come shining from the western to the east. Any day now, any day now, I shall be released. Standing next to me in this lonely crowd is a man who swears he's not to blame. All day long I hear him shout so loud, oh, crying out that he's been framed. I see my light come shining from the western to the east. Any day now, any day now, I shall be released. I see my light come shining from the western to the east. Any day now, any day now, I shall be released.
Thank you very much, Rona Kenan, one and only. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And on behalf of the family, huge thanks to Lior Ashkenazi. You deserve it, believe me. Week after week, never get tired. Lior, we love you very much. Thank you for everything. Thanks. And bring them home now. Thank you.